people, I really don't think people understand this, but you can get this feel just by like Google Mapsing around for a while or whatever. A German village, like if you look at villages in Europe, like Germany or France or the Slavic countries or whatever, if you go and look at what their rural communities look like, they're consolidated. Again, I know we've done this before, but it's really important to understand the difference. Okay, look at this, and I'm not saying that rural people in these environments don't have a right-wing disposition. They do. But I'm talking about like issues. For me, this is about ensoulment. Human beings are meant to live with other human beings. I think that people are meant to live in communities. And the crazy thing about a lot of American rural developments is that they are not communities. They are literally like one commercial road that has a church on it and maybe like a diner, and then a bunch of disconnected houses, all of which have fallow plots of land that produce nothing. Like it's farmland, but nobody farms. It's just people just sit there and they drive for an hour and 10 minutes to their job, or they just sit there and they rot. It's really, really common in Europe to find this is a terrible picture, but work with it. No, you know what? I'm gonna find a better picture. That picture is too terrible. I need to find a picture that's less bad. Wow, these pictures are all terrible. How are they all this bad? That's crazy. Okay, whatever. We'll go with this. A lot of villages in Europe have this vibe to them, where you have farm plots that kind of like radiate out from a center town, and all the people live together here. So if you live in any one of these houses, you can like step out of them and you're on a street and there are people around you and there are businesses, and you've got your church. Everyone has a fucking church or whatever. Take a shot every time Vaush Googles a rural European town. People in YouTube chat are being so contrarian. Man, we've done the Google Maps thing. You can literally see it. You can Okay, fuck it. You fucking did this. You stupid piece of shit. You fucking did this, okay? Vaush doesn't get there are so many towns like this in the US, Lamau. No, there aren't, buddy. There are in the original 13 colonies, because that was when we had design fucking principles that were similar to the European countries that we came from. But when you go west, the further west you go, the more like that it isn't. You pieces of shit. You have no idea. I'm Charlie Kirk's wife. You have no idea. You have no idea what you've unearthed. You have no idea. All right. Welcome to France. Too big. I often hear this. Even this. Centralized development. This is quite rural, by the way. This is not like a city, all right? Look at this shit. How many people live here? Like 100? Maybe? Look at this, okay? Centralized, concentrated development, okay? This is very rural, all right? But if you live here, you live in a community. You walk outside, people to your left, people to your right. I think that one of the reasons American ruraloids are so bad is because a lot of them live in like fully blighted environments. And I don't just mean poverty. There are lots of poor countries. Greece is a poor country where you can see a lot of lively community spirit. You know, if you go to Greece, you don't need to just stick to Athens or whatever. You can just find like a tiny little communities, and you can. Look, right there. This is a poor country. Concentrated development. People here live in like a neighborhood. Here, let's go off the water. Everyone likes the water in Greece, right? A little too big, maybe. But the point is, like, this country is not wealthy. Greece does not have a lot of money. Far less money than America has. Even in these environments, okay? Even in rural America, the per capita GDP is much higher than in all of Greece, okay? But a lot of these communities are literally like 1,000 years old. So they used to build their fucking villages before people had cars. They built their villages back when if you wanted to go to the next town over, you had to fucking walk or take a horse or whatever. They hadn't even invented horses yet, probably. I don't know. Did they have horses 2,000 years ago in Greece? Maybe. I haven't seen Alexander the Great in a horse. I haven't seen Alexander the Great at all because he's been dead for a while. Yes? All right. Well, maybe they did invent horses by then. That's not my problem, okay? You go over to Spain. Remember when we looked at Spain before? Look at that. This is exactly what I mean, man, okay? You look around, even in the rural areas, I cannot overstate how poor these communities are, okay? These are not wealthy little, like, tourist destinations, at least not all of them, okay? I don't know every little town and village. Look at this. Do you think this right here, Mayorga, is like a Spanish, like, oh, all the wealthy German and British tourists come over here and they dump money into the community? No. This community has probably been here for quite a while, okay? I'm going to guess, I don't know, it's Spain. Maybe it's been here 500, 600, 800 years. I have no idea. But look at the design, okay? This is not a wealthy area. Not at all. Look. But you know what can exist here? Community. Community can exist here. People can have neighbors. People can have like genuine social dynamics. People can fall in love with each other. People can find jobs. Well, it's Europe. I don't know how often they work here. They have their siestas. Bars and windows. Yeah, it's a poor area. This is my point. Wealth is not the gatekeep. Okay, the gatekeep is the design. The problem is that these communities here, which were built in line with the traditions of the pre-car city, are built at the human level, okay? They're built at the human level. You can go all over Europe and find this shit. All over it. Look at Yorkshire in the UK. I'm not going to look at fucking Yorkshire because I don't know where the fuck that is, okay? But if I go over to any place in the United Kingdom, what about Nateby? Oh, look at that. Centralized development, okay? Look at that. See? Farm plots, which you can see here, I assume, or maybe they're just lawns. I don't really know. The grass, the environment, is radiating out from the central core. The central core is the social nugget. It's the environment. It's the place where people convene, where they get together. It's the place where humanity happens, okay? This is the Starbucks. This is the ensoulment. The desoulment happens when you live in isolated fuck-all plots of land. Imagine if, rather than this existing, imagine if every single person who lived here was instead distributed across an area 100 times the square mileage in properties that every single one of them looked like this. That's America. West of the 13 colonies, overwhelmingly, that is what people who live in rural environments are like in America. That is the vibe. We're looking at America right now. If you compare a small, older U.S. town like Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, yeah, original 13 colonies, man. Here, look. You can see it's like this in the rest of the world, too. America has really, really, really bad urban design. This shouldn't be controversial to anybody who fucking watches this channel. Check planning in Cairo, you might get a stroke. You're not understanding the point I'm making here. This is something that needs to be done to make rural life in America less abysmal. Okay? It's not just about wealth. It's not just about jobs. It's about the fact that we did not design these places to operate as independent social and economic entities. We design these places in the periphery to highways. We design these places to be like broad farming communities. Or in many cases, we didn't design them at all. They were the product of homesteading. Because for a ton of property over here in the West, the government wanted to settle it quickly and kill all the Indians. So they said, hey, here are plots of land. First one to get it, gets it. Go on, get. And a bunch of people just went and settled plots of land. Everyone got 40 acres or whatever. These weren't communities. People were homesteading. We go over to Connecticut. Actually, this looks like absolute ass. So I was trying to make a point that the colonies, the original colonies, had like better. That's probably not an old development. Oh, Salem. I've heard of this place. Probably not the real. Oh, this still looks like ass. Never mind. All of America is garbage.